Greetings and welcome to this week's Golf Betting Show. Steve Bamford here from Golf Betting System. We're covering the 2016 RBC Canadian Open, no European Tour event this week. Of course, next week it is the PGA Championship, which is being played just outside of New York at Baltusrol Golf Club. So, I don't know if I've got the pronunciation right on that, but Baltusrol, who cares really? But we'll move forward. The RBC Canadian Open, of course, I've pulled together a predictor model. All the statistics that we normally have are free of charge, available at Golf Betting System, and a betting preview. Before I move on to the tournament itself, let's highlight the subscription button below the screen if you're watching on YouTube. Come and join the subscribers. On top of that, golf, it returns to normal this week. 7 places each way available via Paddy Power, a fifth of the odds. And Stan James, to their eternal credit, have gone 6 places each way and a full quarter of the odds, which is fantastic. The other thing with Stan James is, of course, if you sign up to their deal at the moment, it's been enhanced. So bet 10, get 20 available if you open an account by Golf Betting System. And you're getting 6 places each way, a full quarter of the odds, or for the majors, 7 places each way, a full quarter of the odds. They're a fantastic bookmaker right now for golf betting, as are Bet365. And if you go to the betting preview this week, you will see that the thing with Bet365 is they're always first to market. So if you're there on a Monday morning, Monday lunchtime, you're waiting for the first market to come up, first market to appear. You've got players that you know you want to back and you want to get in there early, the best possible prices. Bet365 is the bookmaker for you. If you sign up via Golf Betting System, you use the bonus code BONUS200, you will get the full £200 or €200 sportsbook bonus. You will also be able to access them. They're Bet365, they're mad really. They also give you a £50 or €50 on the move bonus when you use your mobile or tablet for the first time. So up to £250 or euros of free bets, or not free bets, sorry, bonus via Golf Betting System at Bet365. Really, really strong if you do want to get on a player particularly early and get the very best prices. The odds compiler at Bet365, he's not afraid to take a stance on players. Okay, top 10 of this week's RBC Canadian Open predictor model. 10, a guy that came very close to winning last year, has done very little since, although he did pop up a few weeks ago at Congressional in the top 10. David Hearn. Canadians haven't won this since 1954. I think it was a guy called Fletcher, Pat Fletcher. Hearn came mighty close last year. 60 to 1, Paddy Power 7 places each way. 9, another Canuck, Graham Dillette 60 to 1, or Graham Delay 60 to 1, Paddy Power 7 places each way. 8, Ryan Palmer 66 to 1 with Ladbrokes. 7, Kevin Kisner 66 to 1 with Betway. 6 is Jimmy Walker 70 to 1 with Bet365. 5 is Emiliano Grillo, 33 to 1 best price at the moment. Paddy Power 7 places each way. 4, Brandt Snedeker, winner in 2013, 25 to 1, Stan James 6 places each way. 3, Matt Kuchar 16 to 1, Bet365. Bet365 were offering a little bit of 18 to 1, but that's been nibbled this morning. 2 is Jason Day, 11 to 2, generally available. Number 1, Dustin Johnson, 11 to 2, generally available. So, and most sports punters in their right mind will suggest that Dustin Johnson and Jason Day, it could be a hell of a shootout this week. Matt Kuchar sitting there at number 3, 16 to 1 with Bet365. That's the Golf Betting System predictor model for the RBC Canadian Open. Of course, if you come to golfbettingsystem.co.uk, you can make your own predictions totally free of charge using the statistical model that we have and come up with your own model. Because, at the end of the day, it doesn't boil down to what Paul thinks or I think. If you've got, you'll have your own views on exactly what variables will make the best prediction model this week. Okay, it was noticeable Henrik Stenson, I believe, was in the top. Let me have a quick look. we've got time to kill. Let me look at my records. We've got time to kill, haven't we? So just sit there and wait while I look through it. It was Paul Williams' prediction model last week, of course, because he did all of the hard work last week. And it's interesting, Henrik Stenson was at 8, Phil Mickelson was at 6. The top 5 was made up of DJ, McIlroy, Scott, Jason Day, Ricky Fowler. Take those away, and if you are using it and looking at prices, Stenson was there at 22s, I think he was, and Mickelson was available as big as 50 to 1 last week before a few people started backing him. Okay, the RBC Canadian Open. Being played, as we said at the top of the show, at Glen Abbey. Glen Abbey is a Jack Nicklaus design. It's a very weird golf course in as much as 10 of the greens are a mix of bent grass and poana, and 8 of the greens are pure bent grass. So make of that what you will. Look for bent grass positive putters. It's an old course, relatively, 1976. The length is 7,250 yards, took 53 yards, it's a par 72. That shouts the fact that it's attackable. They haven't had a lot of rain around there, so the course is going to play firm and fast. You read various interviews that say if you miss fairways, you're in trouble. Jason Day, Branch Seneca's wins. They hardly hit any fairways at all and still got the job done. So power, bombers, yes, they've got a lot of say here. Dustin Johnson's finished second here in 2013. Of course, Jason Day last year. Bubba Watson. Accuracy off the tee means very, very little. Also, with the fast greens, they were fairly fast. They were being watered, as you would expect, by the PGA Tour, but they were relatively fast last year. But players can still get to 16, 17 under. So it's a classical golf course. It's very tree-lined, lots of dog legs. But those dog legs can be brutally overpowered by the longer bombers. But, you know, there are also players in contention. David Hearn, as we said last year, Jim Furyk, Matt Kuchar's got a great record here. Snedeker isn't the longest, as we know. It's one of those courses where if you're playing great golf and hitting lots of greens in regulation and putting relatively well, you can shoot extremely low scores. Of course, in terms of the betting market, Dustin Johnson and Jason Day are joint favourites at 11 to 2. You could see Dustin Johnson quite easily winning 3 from 4. Last week, the putter let him down. He was a little bit inaccurate off the tee compared to where he's been at. The putter, though, was pretty cold last week, and that was the main reason he only finished in 9th position, a backdoor 9th. Jason Day, as ever, he was finding very few fairways last week, very few greens. But, and as we said at the top of the show, this course can be overpowered. He did it last year, never right off Jason Day. Of course, he came very close to winning around Firestone South a few weeks ago at the WGC Bridgestone Invitational, which really isn't a course that suits him because you do get punished for not hitting fairways there. And he still had a very good chance of winning that tournament going down the back 9. People are debating whether Jason Day's slightly on the way, and who knows, we'll find out a lot more this week, especially with the PGA Championship next week. Okay, I've gone for 4 players this week. I'll go in reverse order. You do get some long shots in the mix here, especially those that are outside the top 125 in the FedEx Cup standings, which, of course, after the Wyndham Championship in I think it's 3 or 4 weeks' time, that will top 125, they all get their cards for next year. Anything below that who haven't got a winner's exemption will not have a full tour card. So the likes of, if you're looking for some long shots, I did look extremely closely at Bud Cauley. Cauley's a cracking player. He's way outside the top 125 at the moment. He played really well at the Byron Nelson Championship back in the Texas swing. This course should suit. Finished strongly last week down at the Barbasol. He was tipped up quite a lot for last week, but he hadn't played golf for a long time. He's got the rust off now. So he's a very good shout, Bud Cauley. There's lots and lots of other players down there that need a result. Someone like an Ernie Els, for example, who popped up a few weeks ago at Congressional. Let's think. Michael Thompson played very well last week. I know that he's played well in upstate. And this is the whole thing. It's in Canada. So look for players that have got some form of upstate performances in the past. So when I'm talking upstate, northern states of America, bent grass, we're looking at Kentucky bluegrass rough. Totally different type of golf courses to what we've had earlier in the season across Florida and the West Coast swing. Okay, these are my four. I'm going, my longest shot, John Curran, half a point each way, 175 to 1 with Stan James, so 6 places each way. Curran's one of those. Can't hit a lot of greens. He's not a ball striker, but he's a fantastic putter. He loves bent putting surface or bent Poana mix putting surfaces because he hails from Massachusetts. He's a good friend of Keegan Bradley, and it's interesting. You know, there was a tournament. It's kind of co-sanctioned by the PGA Tour, but the CVS Health Charity Classic at Rhode Island Country Club. It's played each and every year. There were some decent golfers in it. I saw Oosthuizen, Brandon Grace, Bill Haas came second in this. And you can see with Keegan, he played well last week at the Open. Now, John Curran, the last time you'd have probably come across him was at the Memorial Tournament, which he played at Jack Nicklaus's course, yes, at Muirfield Village. And Curran got into a playoff that week with William McGirt. It was quite windy in the final round. So Curran plays well on Nicklaus designs, obviously, can putt very well on these types of greens. And this is the whole point at Glen Abbey. Even if you're the very best ball striker, you're probably going to be hitting 75, 77.8 of greens in regulation. So for these guys that can putt and can hit 65%, 66% of greens, it's pretty much the way the course works out. As long as you're hitting the ball relatively close, if you're not hitting a lot of greens, you're scrambling well, minimising your bogeys, and you're putting well, it does turn into a bit of a putting contest on occasions around here. So Curran really does suit. As I said, second as recently lost in that playoff to William McGirt. I'm going half a point each way, 175 to 1 with Stan James. 200 to 1 is available at Bet Victor, 5 places each way. Another player that likes upstate golf, New Zealander, played extremely well at the Scottish Open and then did absolutely nothing at Royal Troon last week. Now, that's not really a downside for me because Danny Lee is not really a technical golf course kind of player. What he is a birdie machine, and if he finds greens and the putter actually is lukewarm to middling warm, Danny Lee is a very dangerous player. I'm going to point each way, 66 to 1 again with Stan James, 6 places each way on Danny Lee. Third at the Scottish Open a fortnight ago, where he played well in very tough conditions, then shot a low score on Friday, and then contended all the way through Sunday. Now that again, if you think it through, Castle Stewart is one of those golf links, modern golf links, where you can score low scores. Now the wind and the bad weather made it a 14 under golf tournament, but theoretically that suits Danny Lee far more than the Open Championship did last week. And he's no links golf course player. He actually said that in his interview. So he was amazed that he played so well over on the North Sea coast. But Lee, last year, he won at Greenbrier. He then had a top 5 at the John Deere Classic. He then had a fantastic tournament at the Quicken Loans National Tigers Tournament. Did very well. I think he was 6th at the Bridgestone Invitational at World Golf Championship level. He's a good player, Danny Lee. Point each way, 66 to 1, plays well upstate. Next up for me, a player that's kind of under the radar. Finished second in a Japan Tour event a few weeks ago, but has been playing really well. Lots and lots of top 20s. Even last week, he was 11th or 12th on debut at the Open Championship at Royal Troon. Emiliano Grillo, I'm going for Grillo, 1.5 points each way at 40 to 1. That's disappeared. You'll get 33 to 1 now, best price on Grillo. Playing some fantastic stuff at the moment. And he's actually returning to a PGA Tour course that he knows because he was here last year, finished 22nd, but he actually led after the first round and was right in contention through Sunday. So Emiliano Grillo playing some really good stuff, 1.5 points each way at 40 to 1. And then finally, I'm always suckered on this guy. I know that he gets a rough ride. I get a rough ride for tipping him. But he's an each-way machine, playing some great golf, hitting lots and lots of greens, which is the precursor for him to actually win a golf tournament. Matt Kuchar, 2.5 points each way, 16 to 1 with Bet365. So Bet365, best price on Kuchar and Griot. And I'm also going Danny Lee, a point each way, 66 to 1 with Stan James. John Cohen, half a point each way, 175 to 1 with Stan James. Don't forget, Bet365 account. If you haven't got one, bonus 200. Open up an account by a golf betting system. Goodbye.